wabarakatuh. First, let me introduce myself. My name is Halissa Dewi Purnama, and I am a college student in English Language Education Study Program in Lambung Mangkurat University. In this video, I will give a video review about two videos. The first video is about sense, reference, and denotation. The second video is about theories of reference. So, let's get started. The first video is about sense, reference, and denotation. So there are three levels of semantic analysis. The first is word level, the second is sentence level, and the last is utterance level. So first we will talk about word level. Word level, sometimes called lexical semantics. There are two main things in this level. They are reference and sense. To know the differences between reference and sense, so let's take a look at these examples. There are sentence, "What's odd for the dog?" The phrase "the dog" in this sentence refer to the object dog in the real world, right? The object dog is what we call referent. When you hear the phrase "the dog," before you actually see the object dog in the real world or in front of you, maybe you will think of a mental image in your mind that represents what you think a dog is. The mental image is a concept of mental representation of what you think a dog is. This is what we call sense. So sense is the mental image in our mind. Part of being able to make reference or to refer to something is partly based on our knowledge of the sense of the thing. Next, there is semantic triangle by Ogden Richards. This triangle has three elements. The first is reference, the second is referent, and the last is symbol. It explains how we get the meaning in semantics. Like the previous examples, the first, "the dog," is what we call linguistic expression. This linguistic expression denotes an object in the real world. So the word "the dog" denotes the real object in the real world, the dog in the real world. What is mean denotes? Denotes is that the linguistic expression stands as a signal that signifies the actual object in the word, or in another word, it is what we call denotation. Function of sense is mainly to determine which objects in the word. Sense of expression seems to be a stable relationship about the object in the real world. Next is about the characteristic of reference, denotation, and sense. Both denotation and sense are stable relationships. Denotation is purely linguistics, and it is a stable relationships between linguistic expression or the word and the actual object or thing in the real world. So what does mean with stable? Stable means that it doesn't change. A reference is the speaker, or when the speaker and the intention that the speaker had under that particular context. Or in another word, a reference is based on the context, and it is not a stable relationships. Reference can be constant. Constant doesn't mean that it is a stable relationships, but rather that in every single time a person utters a linguistic expression, that person should it must exact the same thing. Next is about the types of reference. The first is constant reference. For example, the word moon is constantly all hours refers to the real object moon that we see in the sky at night. The second is no physical reference. For example, like function words like the, it, is. This word have no physical reference, or there is no real object in the real world. Abstract an abstract notion like love, head, idea, myth, creatures of people like unicorn or dragon, because unicorn and dragon do not exist in the real world. And next is one expressions. It fixes out multiply reference in the real world. So there is one expression resembles many objects in the real world. For example, there are 10 female students in the classroom, and you alter the expression the girls. So the same expression has several different references. The word girls denotes 10 female students in the classroom. So the girls can resemble the, for example, like Mutia, Dinda, Engga, Tania, and etc. And next is multiply expressions. There are so many expressions that are referred to one object or reference. So in multiply expressions, there are many expressions that refer to one thing or one object in the real world. For example, like Donald Trump, the president of USA, star of apprentice shows. All these expressions refer to the same person in the real world, that is Donald Trump. And linguistic expressions, anything could be in linguistic expressions. And next video is about theories of reference. There are two theories of reference. They are denotational theory and representational theory. The first is denotational theory. This theory suggests a direct relationship between linguistic expression, a word, and the object in the real world. So it also defines meaning equals denotation. Linguistic expressions denote the object in the real world. For example, proper names denote individual or people in the real world. Common nouns denote set of things. Verbs denote actions. This idea here is rooted in what we call formal semantics. So, what is formal semantics? Formal semantics makes no commitment to psychological matters when it comes to meaning. Word denotes no physical object, but we seem to understand this word. For example, like unicorn or dragon. This word do not have physical object or do not exist in the real world, or there is no actual object. If we say that meaning equals denotation, and in this case denotation amounts to zero or no meaning, then it makes sense that meaning would also amount to zero or no meaning. So it means that unicorn does not have meaning, and we cannot describe it. A simple solution to this problem is to suggest that expressions have what we call sense. In this sense, determine the word's intended reference and what it can and cannot denote. The second theory is representational theory. In this theory, meaning equals mental representation, or the sense or the concept of the word that we have in our mind. So we understand a linguistic expression because we understand its sense. The sense or mental representation is what determines which object in the word can denote, and it determines which objects in the word can be examples of or instances of the concept what we have in mind. For example, like unicorn. Unicorn does not have a physical object right in the real world, but we understand it. We can give the description of the unicorn, and that description or what we think of unicorn is what we call sense that we have, or the concept of the word that we have in our mind. So that's all from me. Thank you for watching this video. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.